Hey everyone! Alright, we're going to be talking about localization in this video. Now, frankly, I'm planning on not actually fully localizing this app for launch, just because it's tedious. There's a lot of work and stuff to do that in terms of like languages and translations and stuff. But it is something I do want to kind of cover. It's an important topic in Flutter, and I have a really great way to do it. So I'm going to set it up. We're going to have it in the code base, and so you can use it. Now that reminds me, I have a YouTube membership program. Basically, when I started this series is when I was approved by YouTube to do it, and it's really great. You can sign up, and you get access to a Discord. You also get access to the source code, and we got quite a few people in it, all on the Discord. And we do, also we had a hangout a couple weeks ago. We're just kind of like a webinar slash meet and greet sort of thing. Planning to do another one soon, and yeah, it's been really fun. We're a little community, but growing, and I'm having a good time with it. So yeah, if you can, afford the I think it's $3.99 a month US to be part of this, I would appreciate it, and you'll have a lot of fun with us. And I do want to say, if you're one of those people that maybe live in a country that it's really hard to make these sort of payments due to the way like your banks and stuff work. I know there's certain countries that it is hard. Just hit me up. You can email me, and my email's on my YouTube profile, and just ask, and I'll get you access to some of these things, the source code and the Discord, because I'm a nice guy. All right, so localization. I still have the Serverpod docs up here, but we are going to get this set up. So what we need is a couple or at least one package. I need to remember. I think it's this package here. This is the one I use. Is it called that? Maybe this isn't actually the one I use. Hang on. No, okay, this is the one. Yep. All right, so we're going to get this set up. Pretty easy to set up. Let's do it. And it's been a while since I've set one of these up. I apologize if I make a mistake and waste people's time, but this is going to be very valuable, I think, for a lot of people. So I have the Flutter side open, and we're going to do a Flutter pub add and add our international utils. And then we're going to go to our pubspec.yaml, and we're going to add some configuration here. I think the docs walk you through how to do it. Yes. So what we need is a key. We're going to go right down to the bottom, and let's actually make a comment called like localization. And we're going to use configuration right here. You can do this in a separate file and whatnot. There's some way to do that, but I think it's a perfect thing to do right in your pub spec. It's pretty important. So the first thing we need is enabled equals true, just to say we're using localization. Class name, we're going to set to S. This is just basically what we'll be referencing the code base. Instead of, I think it's normally by default called like Flutter internationalization, some really long name. This will allow us just to use S in our code when we're accessing something that is going to be translatable. Our main locale, so you want to set what is like our default language, so if, say, you're supporting English and Spanish, let's say, but someone comes with a French phone, we want to say, okay, we're going to fall back to English for them. So we'll do EN for that. We need to make what's called an ARB directory, and this is essentially where the locale files will be stored. So we're going to put it in our lib folder, but in a folder called localization. Short form for localization is L10N. That is because localization is a 12-letter word, so it's like L, then 10 more letters, then one more letter. Localization. Similarly, there's also something called internationalization, which is I18N, and it's because internationalization is actually a 20-letter word, and this is the short form. Fun fact. And then we need an output directory where they actually go. So we'll do output directory, and we'll do lib/generated. Okay, cool. So let's save that. Now I'm going to go back to the docs because there is a way. So what we need to do is actually run this command here. So do we have a makefile in this project? We do. So we're going to go and we're going to make something called gen I18N internationalization. Even though it's really localization. Maybe we should actually do L10N. Generate localization, and it's going to run Flutter pub run this internationalization utils and run the generate command. All right, cool. So let's just see. That's most of the stuff to get this started up. The other thing we need to do is actually make that file, those files that I was talking about, Where did this go? Main locale, cool. So we're going to go into our lib folder. I'm just going to close all this stuff, and we're going to make a new folder called L10N. And within there, we have to make, we're going to make two files. We're going to make intlen.arb, and we'll make intl. What should be our other language? I think we'll. This is a great question. We're going to do Spanish. ESARB. It's kind of arbitrary because, again, I'm just wanting to demo how this could potentially work. So let's open up one of these files. And this is ARB files are just JSON. It's just a key value JSON sort of thing. And I have plain text here. I think there's an extension I could add to view these. But yeah, let's actually look for that. Let's just search for ARB. ARB editor. Editor for application resource bundle files used for localization. It's made by Google. It sounds good to me. So now we actually are going to get some issues here. So that's nice. It's telling us stuff. For this, we're just going to do let's just make a key. What do we have here? Yeah, let's just do something for this post screen, something we haven't touched at all. So I'm just going to do the word posts like this. And we can call it anything we want. Like we could call it like posts title or something, but I'll just do the word posts. Yeah, actually posts title. And we'll just write the word posts like this. What is this telling me? Does not have metadata defined. What the heck is going on here? I've never used this extension, but let's just not worry about that warning. Okay, so we can have that, and of course we could have more and more and more, and everything's great. And then what we want to do is actually open up our this one right here. We want to keep the key the same, but we actually want to say what is the the Spanish version of this. So we can, just for our purposes, go to Google Translate and figure out what that might be. So English, and we want to go to Spanish. There we go, publications. Cool. All right, so we have these two things set up now, and then let's run the generate function, which we put in our make file. What do we call it? Yes, so I can just go make gen L10N, and if I did everything correctly, we should see some stuff happening. Oh yeah, it's the we actually want to use. It doesn't actually matter, but let's do dart pub run. It's just, or is it just dart run? Let's just try that again. Yeah, seems like it's working. No locale found for that. Okay, cool. So now we have this generated folder. Now this is something we could decide not to version control and just rely on that. And that's usually, I think, I mean, it's fine either way. You just might run into merge conflicts more often if you're working with someone else and this folder is version controlled, not version controlled. So we're actually going to go to our git ignore, and this is a personal preference. So we'll do lib / generated. So now this code won't get committed, and we actually run, have to run this. Did I do that correctly? Generated should be. Let's see. Oh, it's because probably the lib folder is not added yet. No, wait, the lib folder is lib. Yeah, I don't see generated here. Okay, it's not version controlled anymore. That's great. Okay, so we're not going to version control that. And then, so let's look at the code that it actually generated here. So we actually have, what this will have is some like boilerplate stuff. Again, this is generated code. You don't want to ever touch this. We have that S thing. That's the class that we said we wanted to call it. And we have something called posts title. So now we have like a type safe way to access our things as opposed to actually using strings. And in my last video, I explained like that's always a good thing. Like you don't want to have strings being passed around that, you can easily make a typo in. So now what we can do is we can go to, for instance, our, post root screen, where we have the word posts, and what we do is we go s.of_context, and we have to import s. So s again is that generated code. We go like this, and yeah, that'll work. s.of_context dot, and then here we get that type safe thing, right? And this just links to that, which has this here. And under the hood, what's happening is based on your language, it's going and actually creating these sorts of things here. Post title, message, lookup by library, simple message, posts. So that's the English one. Whereas this, publications. Or I think I just said it with a French accent, but whatever. So now we're kind of good. Let's refresh, although we might need to, nope, we're good. Okay, so you'll see here, oh, we do have this, okay. No instance of S present in the widget tree. There's, yeah, one other thing we have to do. Again, it's been a while since I've done this. There's something, or we might have to just do a full rebuild. I'm trying to remember how we do this. Okay, configuration, run command, integration with localization, sure. Let me just remember how we do this. It might just require a full rebuild for this to work. Yeah, it says no instance of S present in the widget tree. Did you add s.delegate in the localizations delegate? It also could just be a newer package that I'm not familiar with. Did you add s.delegate in the localization delegates? Now this does sound familiar actually. Hey, look, there's our error. Okay, cool. So inside, I got this error when I use it inside here, in all other places. Okay, missing. Yeah, I'm missing one thing here. Yes, I did miss something. We got to go to our main.dart, or wherever we have our material at, basically. And there's some stuff in here we actually have to do. We need to first of all set a locale. And we are going to, for now, just put in en. Is that a, that's not even a valid locale. I think you actually do this. Locale. Yeah, we can do it from subtags. So I'm just going to do from subtags and just grab en. Is that how you do it? Language code. Language code en. So we're just going to set the language to English here. Then what we also need to do is set a location delegate. So localizations delegate would be it. And we'll just do a const here. And what we want to do is, first of all, we need to pass in our S object and go .delegate. And there's some other stuff we can do too, which is super helpful. We can actually put in our material, pass in the material delegate, because there's certain things. Oh, is this not importing? Huh, where does that come from? Maybe it's changed. It's supposed to come in from the localizations package. Do we not have that package? Okay, let's see what this package is. Change this to Flutter localizations. Oh, is this just part of Flutter? This is coming from. Okay, let's just search Flutter localizations or Flutter localization. Okay. I don't know if we need this. Okay, we'll come back to this if I decide we need it, but this is basically all we actually need. And let's just get rid of that. And let's rebuild. And now we actually see posts coming in there. And let's change our language to ES and rebuild. And now, hopefully, no, we're not getting the locale. That's weird. Let's rebuild one more time. Maybe we do need that package. One thing we missed: supported locales. So here we actually have to put in the locales that we are allowing, and in this case, let's do en and es. But again, these I think have to be, I think they have to. What is it? Is it a list of locales? Yeah. So we'll just grab this and paste it again with es, and then hopefully, oh sorry, this one I'm doing en first, and then es. Wow. And now we have all these crazy errors. No material, locale found, etc., etc., etc. So I think this is where we actually need that other package I was talking about, the delegate for this stuff. So this comes from, yeah, it's not this, but this package we don't want. We want just, it is, okay, so it's just this right here, which Flutter localizations. Okay, I'm going to try and install that. The thing is, it's weird when I search, because yeah, we want the Flutter localizations. Is it built into Flutter? Because yeah, what I want here is material app. It's like default. And this is just so that like, because Flutter has, or like material and stuff has, you know, tooltips and all these kinds of things that, you know, back, like things on their back buttons. And we need to include those so that it knows how to use this stuff. However, I can't seem to get this imported. So I am going to install this. I guess it is a separate package, but it's not the one we were looking at. It's a plural version of it. Let's just try doing a Flutter pub add Flutter localizations with an S. And yeah, I can't find it. So what is going on here? Oh, that's why. Back to our pub spec. I thought like this makes sense now. So what we want to do is actually install it this way. We do Flutter localizations, and we actually use SDK Flutter, just like when we're using Flutter, like installing Flutter itself. We're not pointing it to a pubdev package. And now we do a Flutter pub get. And hopefully now, yes, we have this. So now we actually have access to these things. Let's try, there we go. .delegate. So we want to use that. We want our global material localizations. I'm going to just, for now, in case you're doing this with Cupertino or something like that, we also want to make sure we have the Cupertino version of this. And there's also one that's just the general widgets that aren't necessary material or Cupertino. So we want to make sure that we have that delegate. And is this one something we can add to? I don't think so. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, so now we'll save that. And yes, we are good. I hope. Publications. Again, French accent. Love it. And that's just because we've set this here to this. And when we go back to English, we are good. Okay, so that is great. However, I want to, now we get into the fun part of this video. This is a pain in the butt to do. Like setting it up, sure, that's fine. But now think about it. Everywhere we want to change a name, let's do this as an example, just to see all the work involved again. So, okay, I want to make Serverpod demo, you know, as an example. So, okay, Serverpod demo. Now what do I have to do? And again, I'm just showing you how tedious this is, and I'm going to show you a solution to make your life better. So what do I need to do? Well, I need to open up the English.arb, and I have to decide a key for this. So let's just call it, I'm just going to copy this, and we want to make it, you know, feel a little more like a key here. Serverpod demo, and do Serverpod demo. Okay, oh, we can't, oops, I put a JSON, I put a trailing comma, and you can't have that in JSON for some reason. And then we have to open up the Spanish one and make sure that we have that one in there. And then, you know, we send this to our client or translator to actually translate it, or, you know, we use Google Translate. And let's just, you know, translate it and go to, you know, Spanish again. There we are. Now I'm also like, oh, I don't actually want to translate Serverpod because I feel like that's like a brand name. So I'm just going to take this part and then hopefully remember to, you know, type in the word Serverpod. Okay, cool. So we got that. Now we have to run the generator, which we have luckily a make file for this, or make command for it. Okay, great, we've done that. Then we have to go back to where we did this originally and go s.ofcontext and then search for Serverpod demo. And now in theory, oh, and then That's weird. Oh, this is a funny. This was a bad example because actually we can't. We have to go like we can't actually do a translation of where do we do this? The title of the router, because this has to be all this stuff has to be done above the tree. So let's just I'm going to copy this. I'm going to undo it. And you know, somewhere in our app that's lower than this, like right here, we could and maybe I'll just, you know, do title text. I picked the worst example, I guess. Let's just put that there. And now, you know, if we go back here, we should see Serverpod demo. And if we change this back to Spanish, we should see, yay, cool. All right, so that was, I mean, maybe that wasn't that bad, but I find that annoying. And imagine like you've built the whole app and now you have to go through systematically and do that process. And keep in mind, like, part of that process is also probably sending your client this file. Hopefully they have a good editor for it, or, you know, sending it to a translator, them doing it, giving it back to you, hoping there's no errors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a pain in the butt. Here's my solution. And basically the reason this solution exists is because I was faced with that exact same problem. I was like, okay, I've got this new version, basically like an app that I built. Originally it was built natively, then it became a React Native app. It was like for a client, a partner. And then it became a Flutter app. And I rebuilt it. And then it became another Flutter app. And when I was making, I think, version 4 of it, I guess, so the second Flutter app, I got everything together. It was great. It was all working. And the last thing on my list was like, crap, now I have to do all the localization. Which, because it was, you know, an app that needed to work in English and Spanish and various other things. And I looked at the problem and was kind of like, well, I could spend the next probably 20 hours doing this. Or I could spend maybe the same amount of time, or maybe less, hopefully, building a solution to make this less annoying, and then hopefully just spending a couple hours actually doing it. And that's the road I chose, and I'm glad I did, because a lot of my clients have apps that need to have different languages. Like one of my clients, we have an app that's English, Japanese, and Korean. And because I built this tool, which now I'm kind of being like, hey guys, you should use this tool too. It's made my life so much easier on all my Flutter projects that require this. So I'll try and put the link to this in the description. This is a VS Code extension I made. I do plan on like kind of actually putting it out. I just don't think it's quite like, I don't have the time to really like maintain it right at this exact moment and make docs for it and all that kind of stuff. Instead, I'm going to show you it and how, you know, to get it. And I'll put the GitHub link in the description. However, for people who are on my membership, I can actually send you guys through Discord the compiled version of it, just so you don't have to like run the build yourself and figure that all out. Because it's not, obviously VS Code extension is not written in Dart, it's not written in Flutter sort of stuff, it's written in TypeScript. And we're going to look at that code as well. So I'm going to go to my GitHub now. And we're going to find this Flutter locale G sheet. All right, so this is my package. It's a VS Code extension. And yeah, like I said, the docs aren't, you know, the greatest thing in the world, but we're going to try and get this up and running. I guess first and foremost, I'm going to show you how it works. And actually, no, I can't even do that yet. We're going to actually go through this process of installing and going. So I'm just going to open the code for this thing, and I'm just going to open it in GitHub. Fun fact, assuming you're signed into GitHub and you're on a repo, you can push the period key, and it will open up basically a web-based VS Code of the code base, which is a lot easier to explore, in my opinion, than going through GitHub's normal UI. So what do we have here? We have the extension. Now this, again, is TypeScript code, or it might even be JavaScript. I don't even remember. But it is, yeah, when you write a VS Code extension, it's JavaScript, because VS Code itself is built in, you know, JavaScript more or less, or, you know, TypeScript, and then compiled to JavaScript, because it's ultimately just it's a web thing, and that's why it can work here really easily. Essentially, the way that my thing is like, my problem was like, I want to find what is the fastest way just to do this. And I built this thing, and what it basically does is goes and it kind of goes through this process of, with one sort of key command, doing everything for you, including actually even translating it using just Google Translate with the intention that you're going to go in at some point to, to fix it. And another thing I wanted to solve is I don't want to be handing my client like this JSON file. They're not like, at least in certain cases, I'm not working with a translation company. I'm working with people that just happen to be bilingual, and that's why they want their apps to be bilingual or trilingual in some cases. And I'm handing it to them. I want this to be easy. So I don't want this to be like this complicated JSON file thing. I want to have, what's a great solution? A Google Sheet, right? So I'll kind of just give you an example of one of these just to show you what it's going to look like, and then we'll get it set up for this project. So a Google Sheet would look something like this. We have a key, we have the English version of it, and the Spanish, ES_US. It's just the code being used for that. And basically, this is the place I want people to be able to manage the stuff. It's easy for them to understand. They go, okay, what's it in English, and go in and translate it. Cool, I'm going to go, and they can just override what it says. And the cool thing about Google Sheets is it actually has a built-in Google Translate function. You can call equals Google Translate, the value, what you're going from and what you're going to, and it will just do it for you for free, because we're not using Google, we're not using their API, we're just using the built-in thing. So we can use that to sort of pre-populate data, meaning as a developer I can test this stuff, see, make sure it looks good, and of course still someone can go in and change this from the Google Translate to just actually typing something out as it should be done, or deciding, yeah, that's actually a good job that they did there. So that's kind of like the flow, and I want this just to be like one click and we're good. So to get this up and running, first of all, we have to install that extension. I already have the extension installed, which if I look in enabled, we should see Flutter locale G sheet. This again, there's no icon or anything yet. The docs suck on it, but it works. So we install that. The next thing we need to do is actually make a Google Sheet that's going to mean this. So I'm going to actually make a folder called Open Mic, just so I can keep this stuff here. Let's go to sheets.google.com. And I'm just going to switch to my personal Google and make a blank sheet. And we'll just call this Open Mic L10N, right? Localization. And yeah, similar sort of thing. We just need to make something called key. We need to make the English version, and in our case, ES. We just want these to conform to the locale codes we put in our code, and everything should be good there. So we have that. Now we need a way to work with this. So we need to actually create through, because it's Google, we need to create through Google Cloud Platform, basically like a role, a user, a bot that can basically access this. So I'm going to try and remember how to do this, but we'll go to Google Cloud Platform, and we already luckily have something set up for Open Mic, right? Because we needed it for Google Places. So I'm just going to find our Open Mic thing here. And what we need to do now is we need to create a user essentially that's going to have access to this, like a bot user. And I'm just going to Google, figure out how to do this exactly. Just give me one sec. I believe it's just a service account we need to make. Can I just search for service account? Service accounts. Cool. So we're going to create a service account now. Create service account, and we'll just call this our Open Mic Google, or I guess we can call it L10N guy. Okay, so we get that. And then what I want to do is I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. This is the name of the email here, or the email address. It's basically creating like a fake, email. And we can just go and create and continue, I guess. Role, I don't think we have to do any of this stuff, actually, if I remember correctly. And let's just click done. Then the magic is we go to our sheet, and we actually invite this user to it. So let's go and, oops, how do I share? Share. We're going to invite a specific user, so I'm actually going to put this one in as an editor. All right, wicked. Okay, now what we need to do now is actually generate a key for this, which permissions, keys right here. We're going to add a key, create a new key, I guess JSON. And I'm just going to save this temporarily to like my temp folder. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go to back into VS Code, and we're going to go to our code settings, and we're going to go to settings. But specifically, I want to do this for workspace settings. We don't want this to be something we're setting globally, because we're going to be setting some stuff specific to this project. And if you had multiple things using this extension, you wouldn't be able to say what to use. So we're going to workspace, and we're actually going to go and edit this file, which I believe we can open in JSON like this. And then we're going to put in some sorts of things. Now, there's other ways you could do this too. You can actually go to the extension that you've installed, go to settings, extension settings, and then we can actually click this to go edit in JSON. I guess there's might be another way to do it. But essentially, we need to put some data here for to say, you know, what the Google Sheet URL is and all this kind of various stuff. So let's figure out that real quick. Okay, so all of our things are going to be based on the name of our extension, which we get autocomplete on because we have this extension. So the first thing, yeah, we want to have our email, and we're going to use that email address that, you know, we had copied to our clipboard. Then there's some options for whether this project uses null safety, because actually when I originally built this, null safety was kind of didn't exist, and then it did exist, but I had to manage two different versions, and the way it works has to work a little bit differently on the way that it generates stuff. So we want to say, yeah, we're using null safety, and then we need a private key, which we're going to get in a minute. That's the thing we downloaded, so I'll just make it null for now. We'll come back to that. Then we need our sheet ID, so Flutter sheet ID. And here we can get that pretty easily. It is basically just, if we look at the sheet, it's this thing after the D, but before edit. And we'll paste that in there. Then we need to say, what languages does this support? So Flutter local languages. And there's a default, so it comes, but we're actually just calling it ES, I believe. We also need a path to our project. This is one of the things I want to clean up, because I think it's something I can just figure out, that I can, you know, determine without people doing it. But and here we basically just want to do a pwd in whatever our working directory for the Flutter app is. Copy it, paste it in, and that's just so that it knows like where this is located. We also need to have a project name, which I'm just going to do up here. And this is just so when it's doing the imports and stuff like that, it knows what to use for like stuff like this. So I'm going to just call, it's basically whatever the name of your main, you know, Flutter package is. Let's go back and put that in. And another option that we can have, because this is important too, I think, for people who use FVM, we can say whether to use FVM or not. So it knows when it's running Flutter commands to use it or not. In this case, we're not using FVM. We're just on latest good old Flutter. But if you are using FVM, you can set that to true. All right, so I got that all set up. The only thing missing is the private key. And I might have actually downloaded the wrong type of private key now that I think about it. Let's just find out. I'm just gonna, for safety reasons, open this on another screen, and let's gonna open it over here. Open. Yeah, I'm actually going to re-download that if I can. Yeah, I'm gonna actually just get rid of it, and let's add another key. Create new key. I'm gonna do a P12 one. I think this is actually the version I want. We will just also put this in my temp directory. Oh, you know what? Actually, sorry, the JSON one is the one I wanted. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, add key, create new key, JSON. So we'll download that. And basically, I can show this one because it's one I've just expired. This is the original one, but there's a bunch of stuff in here. All we actually want to pull from it, though, is the private key. That's what we care about. So I'm going to be copying this, although in the one that I just you know, newly downloaded. So let me get that one in here. And we're just going to copy the whole string and go back to this. And I'm going to, wherever we have our private key, I'm going to paste it in. But I'll put this over here. so you can't see it. And I'm going to save that file, and I'm going to, I'm just going to close it. We went through everything. Now no one can see my private key. Okay, so we have all that stuff in. I did want to check one quick thing, if the /n is needed at the end of it. It looks like it is, so we will keep it. All right, so let's see if this works now. So let's try this test again. Let's go to maybe our venue screen, venue root screen. And you can also set this up as a shortcut too to run this thing, but we'll just do it the normal way, which would be Command-Shift-P, and we'll actually just search for Flutter local G sheet, and let's see if this is working. Oh no, we have an error. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm going to try and figure out what's going on there. All right, so something cool about VS Code is, and when you're debugging an extension, you can actually see all the console errors and all this kind of stuff that's going on. And you can do that by using Command-Shift-P, toggle developer tools. And what I've learned by doing this is we're seeing that there's a Google API error on this. Instead of just that generic error that showed up, we can actually see what's going on. And it's saying that it doesn't have access to sheets, which makes sense. So I think it's the, we have to do it to the project itself. So we're going to go back here. We're going to search for API. APIs and services, probably this. And library, we're going to search for sheets. There we go. Google Sheets API. So now we just have to enable this, and I think we might be good. If not, we'll see another error. So yes, VS Code is just a website. It's a really nice website. We have the Chrome inspector. It's beautiful. Okay, cool. So that's running. Let's try running that command again. Flutter local G sheet, and we do have another error. Could be the same error. Oh, you know what? I think it threw an error when it actually activated the extension. So I'm going to, can we just do reload window? Or restart extensions? I think that might be it. Extensions. Refresh. I just want to not actually close VS Code if I can, because I think we'll lose the Flutter, the Flutter app that's running. Reload extensions. Someone tell me what to do. Extensions refresh. We could just try that. That did not seem to do anything. We'll just double check, but yeah. Okay, we're just going to reload the window then. Reload, developer reload window. Okay, cool. Kept this open at least. And now I don't see that error. Now that still doesn't mean it's going to work. All right, we're working here. Okay, cool. So what happens in this extension is it basically, actually, let me show the nuances of this. So I could highlight this whole thing, or I could highlight this, or I can actually just put my cursor anywhere in between two things, which that was a tricky thing to figure out how to do, but it makes it way easier than trying to TDC do this. But I can click anywhere in here, go Command-Shift-P, Flutter local G sheet, and then what it does is it takes the name of whatever's in here. It'll make it camel cased, so it starts lowercase. If this was multiple words, it would actually make the key that. You can still change the key to anything you want, but it kind of pre-populates a key for you. So we'll just have, we'll do this, and maybe I'll do this, I'll call this venue's title, override it a bit. Then you'll see it actually changes the code here and does the thing, and bam, everything's good. So it actually generated the code. If we actually go to the ARB folder, you'll see it's in there and everything's good. Oh, we actually lost our previous data, and it's because we didn't have that already in our Google Sheet, which makes sense because it re-downloads it. But you'll see here, look, it made this thing, venue's title, this and that. So let's go back to our post screen because we're going to have an error here. And let's do that same process. We'll just go posts, Command-Shift-P, call it again. And we'll do the same thing, post title. and it goes, and it does all this magic behind the scenes, and you should see this in here now, and everything's good. So yeah, that's it. That's how easy it is to internationalize things with this extension. And again, I will put the link to the repository in this video for the code extension. I'm not supporting this yet. I'm not like gonna, I'm happy to hear feedback and stuff, but I'm not releasing it in the extension store at this time because I feel like that's just going to be a headache for me to maintain and deal with people's edge cases and stuff. So I'm going to have it there. You'll have to compile it yourself. You'll have to look into how to do VS Code compiling of extensions and how to install it. Basically, you actually have to install it by kind of going here and going install from VSX. It's a bit of a process. But if you are one of my Discord members or one of my YouTube members, basically hit me up on our Discord, and I'm happy just to send you the binary of it, which will make it a lot easier for you to install. So another perk there for you guys. All right, I'm glad we got through that. And I think that was pretty cool. In the next video, or maybe sometime soon, we're actually going to set up so that we can detect the user's language based on their device, to set that as the default. And we're going to set up a way so that people can override that in their settings. So even if their phone is Spanish, but they want to see it in English, they'll be able to go and change that. So we didn't get to that yet, but I think this was more than enough. And, I really hope you liked what is here. And yeah, if you think this extension is awesome, again, let me know. And, I do want to eventually get it out. It's just like there's a difference between like building a dev tool for yourself and maybe some close friends and other developers versus putting it out as an extension, and then you start to have users hitting you up on GitHub being like, why isn't this being maintained anymore? And I'm like, I'm busy and it works, so it solves my problems. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents there. But yeah, I'm happy to eventually get my stuff together and make that happen. So thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.